Welcome back to On the Hook with Chris, where we get behind the scenes with business owners and people moving the needle. Who am I? I'm Chris Weitzel, owner of Chris Seafood, and we are located at 1300 Seagrave Drive in Woodstock, Unit 4. I bring to the table 20 years of sales experience in the finance industry and more recently in the retail sector, where my wife and we ran a roadside stand while attending a farmer's market here in Woodstock. It was at these venues where we amassed thousands of face-to-face sales. We currently own and operate a brick-and-mortar fish and seafood store in Woodstock. I love sales almost as much as I love business. Now, the man to my left here hails born and raised from Mississauga, attended the Niagara College, graduated the 2010 culinary crew, made some stops along the way at the Mule in Port Dover, Oxford Hills as sous chef in Mount Elgin, and where we are sitting today currently at Ironworks at 529 Dundas in downtown Woodstock, executive chef Matt Power.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me, guys. It's good to be here. Excited for the opportunity here at Ironworks. We have a great crew here. We do a lot of great things here at Ironworks. We have many different items on our menu that cater to many different people. So gluten-free intolerant people, gluten-intolerant people, vegetarians, vegans, and also anybody who loves meat, just like you and I. We have a nice fat steak on our menu. We have a house-made burger and a good old-fashioned fried chicken sandwich. And then for anybody who likes a little bit of game meat, I have one of our signature dishes on the menu is our duck wings. Yes, they are very good. They're briny for at least a couple days, and then we dust them in a nice dredge, and there we go. All right.
So Matt, let's set the stage here. It's Friday night. The board is full, and the printer is spitting out chits faster than a babysitter's boyfriend when the car pulls in. What do you do personally, and what do you do to get your team all fired up?
Well, pray to any God you have. But no, it's just basically I round up the team and just say, guys, be ready. How's everybody's stock? And let's have some fun because it's gonna be complete hell for the next hour or so. But you know what? Let's have some fun. Let's learn something. Let's cook some good food and make some people happy.
Nice. Having fun, I guess. That's keeping things loose.
A little bit, yeah.
That's good. So, what inspired you to be a chef, and how did you get started in the industry?
Well, I started just like everybody else, just like many chefs. I started as a dishwasher when I was a wee young lad. I started when I was 14. Now I'm 20 years deep. I can't believe that.
Where did it go?
Yeah, I'm sorry. We just aged ourselves. But no, the people that inspired me to be a chef, there's many people. First of all, my grandfather. He was a chef in the Korean War. I remember cooking with him when I was 5-6 years old, doing simple stuff like breakfast stuff or barbecues and stuff like that, learning how to butcher, many different things. And then I grew in the industry, learned from many chefs, from Greek chefs to Croatian chefs to Jamaican chefs to now I know this guy named Eric. We both know him. He's a good guy.
Not bad.
Not a bad guy. No, but now I have the honor and privilege to working alongside Eric Boyer, where I've learned a tremendous amount of knowledge. I wouldn't be here without him.
You mentioned the butchering.
Yeah.
That's always intrigued me. Like there was at one point it was I actually wasn't kind of in the process of buying a butcher shop. It burnt down, so that put a kibosh on that. But I was always intrigued by butchering. What about like?
I've always been intrigued by it. It's I always say, especially to the younger crew, the younger generation in the industry, that it's a dying art. Right. Because a lot of places will buy their stuff pre-butchered, pre-cleaned, which is sad because I love to teach. And that's where I love to see my knowledge coming out on the younger generation. It's very fulfilling, right? It warms my heart.
I bet. Yeah. So what is one ingredient that you think every home cook should have in their pantry or the fridge or whatever?
I would say salt. Salt, just because, and don't be afraid to use it because a lot of people are afraid to over-season. Hence why a lot of people are they have bland food, right? Not an insult to anybody, obviously, but yeah, I always say salt and garlic.
Salt and garlics.
Yeah.
So there's to be said about sprinkling high. I see this all the time. People, what's the height? Where's
Oh, just super high, right? The higher, the better. The more flair.
That's awesome. Can you share a particularly memorable experience that you've had in your culinary career? But for me, in my sales career, it would have had to have been it was my biggest sale, but it definitely wasn't because of the dollar amount. And it was because of the service, that one waiter that I will never, ever forget. And it just happened to be a big sale. It was a nice commission. It was over 10 grand. But like I say, it wasn't the numbers, because it was the scenario that I was in. I took a decision maker to a really nice restaurant in Toronto. Great meal, got the deal, came for the check time. At this time, I'm a budding financial advisor. Declined at the table.
Oh, no.
Machine in my hand. Looking, and the waiter grabbed the machine. It's like this person knew, grabbed the machine, winked at me and said, "Thank you so much, sir. Make sure to say goodbye on your way out, okay? Thanks a bunch," and on with it. This guy, and I will never forget that feeling. You can't train this, I don't think,
no.
But it created a memorable experience in my sales career. But so for you, in your culinary career, share a memorable experience. Good, bad, ugly.
It's so hard to pick, because like you've been around the bush for a little bit now. But my most memorable, obviously, would be cooking for Gordon Ramsay. Wow. When I was a wee young cook, up and coming in the industry, I was actually still in high school, and I was just about to graduate high school.
Yeah.
And the chef there, I'd had a college culinary program. It was called the OEAP program. So it was basically a youth apprenticeship program that basically geared us up for college. And the chef there, he got in touch with Ramsay's publicist, and he was doing a book signing in Burlington. And the chef there took us, about 20 of us, and we cooked a few dishes out of his new book. And I always say, like, because this is what I really love about Italian cuisine, is it's so versatile, right?
Right.
But I made his bruschetta right out of the book, and he loved it. But yeah, it was that was a memorable experience meeting Gordon Ramsay.
What was he like? Come on, we all know what he's like.
So
the on-camera persona. What's he like in real life?
In real life, is completely opposite. He's a nice guy. He's a big boy, but he's just like one of the guys, right? He's on camera is completely different. That was what we were all trying to do. We were all trying to get him to swear and trying to yell at us, but he wouldn't do it.
No doubt.
So yeah,
that's awesome. How do you approach training? Like, this is one thing I know when I talk to small business owners in a climate that we're in right now, is attracting and retaining help. So what's your approach to training and developing your staff, and what strategies do you use to promote a positive and productive work environment?
That's a great question. What we try to do here is, I always say to everybody, like, we're a family here, right? I always try to install a positivity, because like we're humans just like them, right? Obviously we have to make decisions, but I always like to train, to teach new people. My thing is to take the extra time to show somebody how to do it, and always ensure that they can ask any questions about whatever.
No such thing as a stupid question.
No such thing as a stupid question. That's basically it, right? Just be real, right?
Where are you finding most of your talent nowadays?
Honestly, right now we use work in Oxford. We found some great talent there, but obviously the word of mouth and Indeed, obviously. But yeah.
So how was a failure or an apparent failure set you up for later success? Like, think about, do you have a favorite failure? Like, give you a minute to think, because again, for me at one point, I was living across from a decent pizzeria joint. There's a food story in here. So I was working straight afternoons for a feed mill, and I grew up going to that place my whole life. It's called the Sub Doc, but I didn't go there for the food. It's because they had an arcade in the back. But so the one day in my drunken haze back in the days, I would sit across and from this restaurant and convince myself that I should buy it. So I did, Matt. My girlfriend at the time was working there, and I thought she would run it. I'd keep working to pay it down. It was an epic failure, Matt. Just epic failure, but it didn't last even 6 months. But I took a little bit of a hit on that one. But the experiences I learned just by going through that process, I now look at it, now I can laugh. But, so what's a failure that happened to you early on recently that you can say you took some growth out of?
Failure, yes, but I always say is that what can you learn from it? Because you, just like you say, you get experience out of it, right? One would be I had a catering business. My wife and I started our own little business straight out of our own house, just doing some barbecues, some birthday parties, anniversaries, and stuff like that. It was just a little bit too big for myself growing in the industry and then still running a restaurant, right? So I had to unfortunately shut it down. But yeah, I took great things out of that where I learned that I can still, I can run a business, I can train new staff, I can talk to people, talk to customers and stuff like that and not be shy.
Right.
But yeah.
So what advice do you give to a smart, college-driven student who's just about to enter the real world in the culinary world?
Very, very good question. The real world is completely different from college. And I could not stress that enough. In college, they teach you everything, like all the basics and stuff like that, right out of a book. But in my mind, you get great experience learning from professional chefs who've been through the ringer, who've been in the industry for many years, right? Who've learned the heartaches in this industry, and they have ups and downs, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, there's.
I can understand. I mean, even just going from I have a diploma in financial services was the actual title back in 99. 99, and I mean, you're right. They teach you all the book things, but especially. And this is the thing for us. I don't know if anybody can relate, but we had one sales course. So you can make the analogy for cooking, but to go into financial services coming out of college with just one sales course now in hindsight is just epic fail, in my opinion, from the institution. But I think we're at a time when post-secondary education for a lot of the younger generation is probably getting maybe a second or third look instead of just knowing. I'm hoping that people at the age of 18, 17, coming out of high school, just the message here is, kids, you don't have to go to college or university right out of high school. I don't think that I'm a big fan of my virtual mentor being Gary Vee. And if you're ever out there, and this is for the parents too, thinking that you need to make that jump from high school directly into a post-secondary institution, I think that is going by the wayside nowadays. Because kids don't know what they want to do. They just feel the obligation to have to do it. Parents might have set aside money, and the kid feels obligated to go ahead and spend that money and go to that 2 or 4 year party. But don't think about that a second or third or fourth time there, kids.
There's nothing wrong with grabbing a few years experience, right? Learning under chefs, so when you walk into college, you have a good idea of everything, what to expect and what to do, and then you can smash that course. You can ace it, right? Not saying you wouldn't out of high school,
right? But you throw a couple of years of some actual practical work experience, it's going to change. It's going to change you, obviously. But yeah. So it's you and your wife, Friday night, you want to impress her. And what is your signature dish that Matt knows is going to impress his wife? And, how did it come to be that dish?
My wife likes many things. she's actually a fan. I love her simplicity. She's actually a fan of a nice quesadilla. Don't get me wrong, I love that too. But my signature dish at home is I would probably make a nice beef tenderloin. And a nice good old fashioned mashed potato at home, right? A nice demi, and some nice broccoli at home. Something simple, but absolutely flavor bomb and delicious. Right, I'm a huge fan to use my smoker at home as well. It's always nice to have that little toy.
What kind of smoker do you have?
Just like a nice little Traeger.
Yeah.
A nice little pellet.
Pellet fed.
Yeah.
Now let's flip the script a bit. It's just you. You are allowed to cook your last meal. So what does Matt eat? You're given the kitchen. You're in jail, but you have access to everything. It's your last meal. Go.
Everything. Everything. I would say some nice black truffles and a nice fresh pasta. Some fresh bread as well, and then a nice fat steak on the other end as well. Go big or go home, right? If it's your last meal, spend it, right? Spend it eating good food, right?
Right on. What's your process here at the restaurant for creating a new dish?
So process here, I always like to, it's not just about me, it's about my team and myself. So I would ask my sous chef Paul, and obviously Eric, our director, and Carly, our GM. I would ask what do we want to do, right? Get their input, because again, it's not just me, right? And see what is not really trending, because I don't want to be like everybody else. I'm not a cookie cutter chef. And obviously change it up every season, right? So figure out what's in season, and then we go from there.
Nice.
Right?
So input from the team.
And what do we want to change? What do we want to do different, right? And then just go from there. Right, I like to spin ideas off of everybody, not just our sous chef and Eric and Carly. I'll even ask my staff. Right, what do we want to do? Right,
make everybody feel involved.
Exactly, right, because again, it's not just about me. Right, we have a dynamite crew here at Ironworks, and I'm very proud to be here.
Nice. What are your long-term goals as a chef, and how do you plan to achieve these? I mean, you're a young guy. You've got a lot of years ahead. What are some of your goals as a chef?
Some days I feel old, but no, my long-term goals here, obviously to make this restaurant flourish. But my long-term goals, I want to own my own place eventually. Gather as much knowledge as I can, because I don't want it to fail. Obviously I can't predict the future, but my long-term goals is to have my own place and eventually pass that on to my future children, right? Because I want to install that culinary is an amazing industry, right? Is my life, right? So and obviously getting my own place is, you got to work your ass off for, right? So
do you find building a brand in this day and age now, being a creator economy type thing, do you find building a brand is going to be important, making that going forward? Yeah,
I would say building a brand, but you also have to build a good name for yourself, right? Now, because I've always said, ever since I first started in management, is that to buy from local, right? Because the local people are your backbone, right? They're the little guys, just like me. Right, I always say buying from local is best. Right, I'd rather call a farmer than a dispatch. Right, to be honest, because you get better quality, but also you feel better buying it from a farmer. All right,
or your local fish guy. So, where does social media fit into your brand building?
Social media is a great way to advertise now, obviously because it's free. But no, it's the biggest avenue, right? There's so many different avenues. There's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything, right? So you can get it out there the fastest, and you can reach the most clients.
Do you have a favorite platform that you like to use personally? Or is it different for the store or for your personal brand building?
Different for the store. Obviously, I like my Facebook. I'm an old school guy. Sorry, it just aged us again.
Garrett's back there smirking behind the camera.
Yeah. Sorry, Garrett. We're a little bit old, buddy. But yeah, just Facebook, Instagram, right? And get it out there as fast as possible.
Yeah. I find the groups now on Facebook is getting to be, like, getting good traction now. But, there can't be anything wrong with taking a picture on Instagram, followed up by a paragraph or two.
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, having a tough time on that one. But, but going forward, I can see that being probably the more dominant platform in a lot of different areas. But where can people find you?
Social media wise, or they can find me either on Facebook or Instagram. Obviously, my name is my Facebook. Yep. Pretty simple. But you guys can also find me here at Ironworks 5-6 days a week.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to add that you plug for the restaurant, plug for you personally?
Just that this is a great place. We're doing great things. We buy everything local. We're doing many events. We do. It's so hard to say. Like, we do beer dinners here. We do events for the county. We're part of a prefix menu for Oxford County. We're going to be doing sips and samples in a few months. What else? Valentine's Day we have coming up.
Yeah, tell us about the Valentine's Day.
So Valentine's Day is going to be a prefix menu. It's going to be a choice of 3 different apps, 3 different mains, and 3 different desserts. Everything made in house. Little teaser was the pasta we just made. Absolutely delicious. One hell of a breakfast.
Yep.
And then obviously one of my favorite things to cook is our beef tenderloin. And then another thing is a risotto, seafood risotto loaded with lobster, calamari, shrimp, haddock, everything. Yeah.
Perfect. So if you didn't catch that, you can come on Valentine's Day. Reservations are recommended. But I just want to say thank you for opening up your kitchen, Matt. I had a blast and a great breakfast. And it's great sitting down to talk to you. And that's about it.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Much obliged.
Right on.